I'm Device from Australis, and welcome to Thorin's YouTube channel. It's a joke-free zone.
Right, I have another classic behind-the-scenes story I want to ask about, because no one ever knows, like I said before, about because of the statute of limitations, like with the story about SK. There's another story called that the real story's never come out on, which is, you remember the famous one where Simple and flamie were supposed to join Coldzera, FURIA, and Fallen? Like, if people don't know, I'm not making this up. That was a real super team that was going to happen. And I heard behind-the-scenes Coldzera that, as far as you guys knew, the deal was done. Like, he was, like, for real, Simple was supposed to go to the airport and fly to Brazil, and he would have just been on whatever SK game. I can't remember if it was SK or MIBR at the time. Like, can you give me your side of this? As far as you knew, he was done, right? He was going to come and play with you.
Yeah, when we spoke with them, flamie and Simple, they were like almost 100% closed. Like flamie was 100% closed.
Right.
Like he even like asked us like the tickets are ready for he
Right.
buy. So he would buy the tickets to fly to America. And Simple was like almost like 80 to 90% close. But I think Navi get a better proposal for him, right? So because I think his family works in the company as well, right?
Yes.
So probably they fixed something better for both of them, right? So and he chose not to go. And after that, like we said, okay, if we're not gonna have Simple, there's no need to have flamie as well, too, right? Because we're gonna change too much the language, So and that's when we came for Stewie and tarik.
By the way, obviously it's a pure hypothetical, but that was the year when everyone says Simple became the GOAT and he had like the craziest stats ever. You must wonder what would happen if he actually came, right? Would have been an interesting team.
It would be like Simple play out of their minds like these last 5 years, like really, really completed player. He's really, really talented, really good.
By the way, along those lines, the one thing I did have to ask about that move is, that's also quite a crazy move, because in theory, people would think you and Simple should be rivals, right? You were two of the best players in the world. You didn't have any ego about having him join. Like, maybe he would be the superstar, right? Maybe he would win the MVP if he was on your team.
Yeah, of course. Like for me, like doesn't matter. Like if the team wins, like everyone's gonna be happy, right? So like the thing who matters for me the most is like the trophy. The trophy. The only thing matters for me. Like doesn't matter like if he's MVP or Fallen's MVP, first MVP. I even remembering like people in 2017 was saying, oh, Code's going start to playing bad. First getting the MVPs, Fallen's getting the MVPs. But like for me, the most thing who matters was the trophy. Like these things people cannot take off from us,
Yes.
Like that's one thing. That's the only thing for me that's important, right? So because if I said, okay, I win this. Like, this trophy is mine, Like, you cannot take this out from me. Like, that's the most special thing,
When you guys did get Stewie and tarik, I've heard the story also is crazy on that. Like, I've heard what happened was, at first like I say, you thought you were going to get Simple and tarik, flamie. And then after that, I heard there was like a crazy list, and it was like, like NiKo and this, it might be NiKo Rain, I don't know who, NiKo Rain, and then like, and for real, everyone told me it was like all the players from the HLTV top 20. It was like Shocks and someone, it was like, did you guys really try to, essentially, back then even, you were trying to make like a super team, right? You guys were trying to get any really great players to play with you.
I think like we just thought first was about Simple and flamie, and we're even having a joke between us, right? So we were just saying like, okay, we sleep and dream with with flamie and Simple, and then we woke up with tarik and Stewie, right?
Right, that's a good one. Okay. Okay.
So like for us, like we were just trying to get a good mix of players that could fit the position from Taco and Phelps, right? So when we brought Stewie and tarik, I think was a good duo as well. I think our team just doesn't work because of the way how we think about CS was different, right? The American mentality and the South American mentality was a little bit different, and we are having clashes of ideas as well between these both games. And I think the turning point for us was if we won that game, that final against Australis on Turkey. I think it was
Blast, yes.
Yeah, it was on Blast. I think this could be the turn point, but
Right.
we delivered the match, and I think that was the end of the team. Like people start to not believing anymore about the process, so we just cut everything.
It's actually perfect you say that, Coldzera, because what I was actually going to ask, which might shock some people, is even though most of that year the team was struggling, the results weren't so good, and then people were flaming everyone in the team, I actually agree. If you look at the end of the year, the results were getting better and better, and famously, actually your team was one of the few teams that could match up against Astralis. Like, the joke was you were doing better than Team Liquid was against them sometimes. So, like, I was going to ask something similar. Part of me feels like if you didn't make the sort of, like, MIBR reunion of Taco comes back and if you'd have just kept that lineup, lineup, or as you say, maybe win this blast. It felt like that lineup could have been good. Like it was like maybe this close to getting there, right?
Yeah, I think it was just a turn point. Like we just need a turn point for people build confidence in the system, you know. And as soon as we could not get anything, like people start to not believing anymore, not believe anymore. So we start to play even better. We start to play better and better because people were believing. We are having great results. We are qualifying for the tournaments. We start to beat good teams. We start to create good atmosphere inside the team. But when was the turn point that was about to win Astralis in the tournament, and we lose? We drop all the confidence inside the team. People start to complaining more, and after that, we just start to drop again. You know. So I think like that if the tournament, if we won that tournament, I think could be the turning point for the team having a small success. You know, and from that we could build more structure, build more patience in the team. People start to respect more because they could see it work, right? So, but from that, we just went down, you know.
Even though in this year, 2018, the team's results went down and obviously there was no majors, etc. I actually remember you were still playing very well individually. Like, you think at the time your individual level was still good? Did you still feel confident in yourself?
Nowadays?
No, I mean in 2018, like the year after the number ones. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Like I think I had people say this bothers me a lot, to be honest. Like this one thing bothers me a lot. Like people saying like, oh, Coldzera just had just only two brilliant years. Like was 2015, 2016, 2017, 18, and 19. So it was 5 years. So and after that I was changing so many crazy positions. So 2019 I joined FaZe, and I was starting playing. I was starting to play on the anchors on the sides. So I never did that in my life, right? So this creates a little bit time to create a good understanding about the game, you know, because you're gonna see the game in a different things, right?
Yes.
So I think until 19, I think I was doing okay. I was having a lot of confidence. I was playing like the best game I could play. And after the COVID, when the COVID hits, and was like a period that you need to play online, I was never good online. Doesn't matter. So 16,
Right.
17, 18, 19, I was never good online. I don't know how to play online because online people are ballsy as fuck, and I don't see them playing in the same way online, right? So like, online was a hard period for me, to be honest. Like, and I started to drop really hard because of that. Like I start to lose my confidence because like people are owning me really, really hard online.
By the way, one thing I did want to ask about was when you went to FaZe Clan, like you say, right? What I want to ask is this: is a complicated question, so you answer it how you feel comfortable answering. But before you went to FaZe, people will forget this, dude. You actually had like a whole period where it was basically known this was what was going to happen. Behind the scenes, everyone knew you were going there. The joke is you were already in Serbia, literally playing with FaZe and NiKo, even before this deal was done. And at the time, there was a whole thing where like MIBR like benched you, and then I heard behind the scenes it was all about like the buyout. Like the thing was they weren't going to let you just go for cheap. I'm just one of the best players in the world. Like they wanted to reach a certain buyout, etc. Right? This is what the question I have basically goes like this. If you think about when you first joined the Luminosity team, esports was way more amateurish. Essentially back then, if you want to join the team and the team wants you to join, it just happens, you know, like even if there's contracts, people just find a way to make it work. No one's going to court for 3 years or nothing crazy like that. It's more like the old school of gaming. This period, it reminds me basically of what like modern sports is. It's like sometimes a football player wants to go to another team, but like he has to be benched for a while, or maybe they don't want to do the buyout, or you have this drawn out thing. Do you think the business of esports has it been tricky to deal with these things? It sounds like at that period, like you thought you could just tell them like let me go, and they were sort of waiting. I mean, they were basically not going to let you go until they got their price right. What was the situation like? Must have been frustrating having to just sit on the bench.
Yeah, of course it's frustration. It creates a little bit of frustration, right? Be on the bench because like if you compete your entire life, you don't want to stop competing, right? Not even for a second. And I think I stopped at 3 months. I stopped 3 months. I was 3 months in the bench. So this fuck you a little bit, you know, because like for example, when you are in the rhythm that you're gonna just be playing tournament, and after you get a big break, you lose this balance, you know. Like when you go to a tournament, you're gonna feel a little bit more pressured because you need to prove yourself because you were 3 months on the bench, you know. So like from there, like from the beginning, like for example, like when you want to get a player, you just say, okay, let's join. Like, for example, we did with Taco and FNX, right? So they were in the next house from us. We said, okay, you guys want to join the team? Yeah, just come. It nowadays doesn't work like this anymore, right? So nowadays people put a higher buyout. So if they don't wanna pay, you're gonna be waiting a lot of time in the bench. You like they need to pay the exact amount. So sometimes they go higher, sometimes they go lower, and like that's how every company works, right? But be on the bench is a little bit bad because you're gonna lose these timings of the competition, and sometimes you lose your momentum as well in the competition, right? So, but like the only thing that I don't like nowadays to see is like, for example, I can see a European player who wins a lot of things, for example, be selling for like 200k, 300k, right? But when you comes to Brazil, for example, you wanna buy a new star, like or a new player who has a great potential to develop, is like 600, 600.
Oh, right. The buyouts are crazy,
Like
right?
that's
Right.
crazy. Like that doesn't make a
Sure.
doesn't make a single sense for me. You know, like looks like in the industry, like people just want to get money, easily money. You know, like doesn't matter the situation. Like they just want to get money and money and money. But like sometimes like people don't understand you can fuck the future from a kid. You know, so and that's not cool. But like from speaking about myself, like when I was leaving from my BR from FaZe, of course they would get me for a higher price because back there I was the best player in the world, right? So they don't want to lose me as well, but I want to live. So like was a hard communication between both orgs, but at the end we solutioned the problem. I gave up a lot of like prize pools as well in 2018 just to help in the buyout as well. So because I want to live in my BR. So and that's how life is, you know.
By the way, when you went and joined FaZe, again, this is another example of something where people knew, like I say, that already knew it was going to happen, essentially. And then not only did they know at this point the deal's going to happen, but the rumor behind the scenes was that you and NiKo wanted to play together for years. And you were always thinking, like, when the next contract comes up with the next team, like, let's find a way to play together. As I've even heard, it wasn't like you had a set place. Like, it might be like, I come to Europe, or maybe you both go to Team Liquid, or maybe he comes, I think, like I said, maybe he came to SK before. Like, was this always a plan? Was there a reason you wanted to play with NiKo particularly?
I think I want to play with NiKo because we were close friends, right? So I think we just shared same ideas as well back there, right? So I think we just like when I was in MIBR, I was not feeling happy anymore because I think things started to get out of the line a lot. To be honest, I think after we closed the deal with MIBR, we were winning so much money, and I think people start to forgetting about the game. You know, that people start to create their own individual stuff. Like they start to focus more in the individual life. You know, and we start to losing the the not just the perspective of the game, but the enjoying the game, you know. So people just enjoy more life than the game, and I was not feeling happy because of that because I want to win more things because I think we were like in your life you have a prime.
Yes.
If you don't use this prime correctly, probably like for example if we win like 20 tournaments, maybe I don't know, we never know, but we could win 30, 35, I don't know. But if people have the exactly mentality, keep the mentality, no, the champion mentality. But because of we lose that, people are just enjoying more life. I start to put this in my head, okay, but I want to keep winning, you know. And if they don't want to follow me, I'm just gonna leave. And after I left, I want to choose a team that people have the same mentality, and I choose FaZe because first I want to try to help NiKo to conquer what he wants, right? And because like I like the team as well, the way how the team plays as well with freedom, using the individual talent, you know, and I could see then with a good atmosphere and chemistry as well.
The one thing is, though, even though on paper, like, that looks awesome having NiKo and Coldzera on the same team, the thing I initially did wonder about, though, is at the time, didn't you kind of have similar styles of play and kind of roles, though, in the game? Like, how did you make that work?
Yeah, I think like I just let NiKo do his roles, and I just feel what was necessary for the team. So if they wanted me to be the anchor from the side as a T, and the CT just play more like an anchor inside as well, I would do it. Like that's why I told you I was never a guy who was saying, okay, yeah, I want to be the superstar, you know. Like if people need to put me in some positions that they think that's appropriate for me, I'm just gonna do it, and I just gonna in my head the only thing gonna pass through my head is like, okay, I'm gonna be the best one in this position. I'm gonna make it work, you know, because like for me, it doesn't matter if I'm superstar or not. Like inside the game, you can be your own superstar in your position. So if you just have this mentality to be the best in your position, it doesn't matter the position you play. You're gonna do the best to be the best in this position.
As you already said earlier, obviously most of the time period when you were in FaZe was just when we were all online and there was no lands. Like by the time the lands came back again, this lineup was already disappeared anyway, and then people had gone to different teams, right? The thing is, you only got a few months with this team, so people don't know when you joined. It was for that ESL New York event, and there was only like a few lands before the end of the year. So basically, this like FaZe team, I feel like we never really got to see what it could do. We don't know if it could be good, or if it would be bad, or if you'd win the major, or if you'd just do nothing. Like, do you ever wonder what could have been if we could have just kept playing lands?
Yeah, I think like we played 2 lands, right? New York after New York was a great disappointment because we played really bad, right? So after that, we went to Blast. We won Blast. And after that, we started to create a good shape. We went to Shanghai. Australia stomped us really hard. Jesus Christ, Australia was super good in this tournament. So they just beat everybody. They 16-0 us. But we were in the same finals. I think the results was good. Like based off the tournament lines that we were playing was good. Like we lose one in the group stage. Okay, that's fine. It was first one. Second one we won. Third one we were in semifinals. Great. And after that, the COVID started to happening, right? So after that, we went to Blast to play the last event on LAN, and we qualified as the first one in the group to the finals. And after that was when the breakdown when we had the break from COVID.
Yes.
And everyone started to stop traveling, right? And after that, I remember the team was really good. We did 3 insane boot camps. We were feeling really good to play the tournaments. We were good. We were building confidence because we played good in Blast. And after that, Olaf stopped playing. So this kind of fucked us a little bit, to be honest. Like we didn't have a single standing, so we just came for a name like I think we picked Kirby at the time, but we didn't have a single player to serve, Like and from that, like we didn't have an IGL, so NiKo was trying to fit that role, but I think we're supposed to have an IGL there back there, and I think the things started going out of control. Like we just pick a player that probably doesn't fit in the roles. Like I think Kirby didn't fit in the roles, in my opinion, right? So we just got a complete, and we keep this complete for like almost 1 year. And I think things start to getting out of the control, and people are not feeling happy anymore. So people start to giving up a little bit. I think if Olaf kept on the team, I think probably we would play way better, way better.
Because then another thing I have to ask, well, if the whole reason to initially join the team was to play with NiKo, this plan for all these years, did you feel at all like, what was there bad feelings when he then basically just came and said, sorry guys, I'm going to G2, bye, like, and he went off to another team? Because in that scenario, if you're left behind, it might feel like, like we're on the sinking ship and he gets to go off to have success with G2. Did you feel betrayed or burned at all by that?
Nah, I didn't feel betrayed. Like I think when he had the proposal to go to his peak with me, right? So we came to some bar to drink and talk, and he said like, "Oh, I want to play with my cousin, and I know like it's not personal. I don't want to make you feel bad because I told you to come to live in Serbia and that stuff, right?" So and I told him like, "Listen, if you want to join, just go and join, right? So I'm not gonna be the guy who's gonna say, don't do that, right? So before professionals, I'm your friend as well, right?
Right.
So if you want to, if it's your dream to play with your cousin, just go and play, man. Like don't be stupid, Like if you want to go, just go. Like I'm not gonna be mad or sad. Like it's your you need to choose, right? So if you want to do it, just go and do it. Like I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be playing with the guys, and that's it. Like, but I have no bad feelings. I have no, I'm not mad with him. Like I think like that's how life it is, right? So the team was not good. I for example, if I had a better proposal as well that time, I would leave as well because like the team was not good as well. Like the things was not connected. Like so like a lot of bunch of shit was happening, So like you could feel that the team was not right, like it was not good to win something. So like people were just look like we were just there passing time,
Because I do have a funny question about this, which is if people remember before that move actually went through and NiKo went to G2, there was that really weird leak where it was like your mom or something said something like, you know, like we request NiKo not to do this. Some like funny line like that. If people don't know, your mum's actually and your family have been very involved in your career. Like I remember they were at MLG Columbus, they were at the ESL Cologne and these big majors, right? What would you say about this? Because this almost sounds like football, dude. You know, in football, all the stories come out, you know, a source close to the family says this, and it's like that's where like all the info comes out. What was going on here? Like they essentially that scenario. I'm pretty sure you didn't tell them to say that. So did they just go and put it on the internet themselves? What happened?
Nah, my family is too emotional as well. Like my family is kind of crazy a little bit as well. So they just my mom and my father, they follow me every day, right? So they're just too emotional. Like and they knew like for example when NiKo would leave and they just post it, but like that's kind of stupid. I thought.
Did you laugh when you saw it? No. Did you think?
Of course. I was like, Mom, shut the fuck up, Mom. Just please, shut the fuck up.
Because after this, if people don't know, this is also where I want to confirm whether this is true or not. When then karrigan the news was he was going to join, the people said at the time that you requested this. Is this true? Did you ask for karrigan as the person to come into the team?
Yeah. Like I request for karrigan and Twist, right? So I think there were the true great potentials for the team. And karrigan is a good. I think karrigan is for me was one of the best game leaders in the history, like by far. Like I think for me, like the three game leaders that I think is the best ones, right? Like I think is karrigan, Glaive, and Fallen. Like I think that these three are out of minds. So I asked for karrigan back, and I asked for Twist as well. I think Twist is a great player as well.
By the way, that's the only thing, though, because the reason I set it up like this is the obvious awkward question is, you did a great job, by the way. You set up the team that later on went to become FaZe and won the major, but you weren't there anymore. Like, it's like you set the team up and then you were gone. Like, what happened in that sense? Like, did it just not work out? Like, could it have worked out? Could you have stayed in FaZe, do you think?
Yeah, I think, like, when we brought karrigan Twist, I knew Rops would come anyway.
Right.
So, and for me, like, in the team that's... like they put me to play as a anchor and solo bomb sets, right? So I never played that, and I'm not feeling comfortable at all, to be honest. Like I was not feeling happy. Like I was feeling something that it's not my style, you know. So I even tried. I tried my best. Like I watched a lot of demos. I put a lot of hours to understand, but I could not play it. Like was not my thing, you know. Like was not a position that I enjoy in playing, you know. So I was feeling not happy at all. So I decided to leave FaZe. And I knew like if I was not like doing good, and it's a profession, right? So like it doesn't matter like if you're doing good or not. Sometimes you can get cut. Doesn't matter as well, you know. So like I knew like Robs would come like someday or not. So he would come anyway. So like I was just like not feeling comfortable as well. Also I just said okay, I'm gonna step down and you guys can bring Robs, you know. So I knew this would happen anytime. So, and that's it. Like I think like I set the team for them. I think I deserve some props.
Yeah. By the way, obviously as well in this story, there was twice in your career actually where you got coached by Yanko. He was with you in MIBR and then he was later in this FaZe Clan team. Can you give me some thoughts? What was it like to work with Yanko? Because here's the funny thing, Coldzera. Even though I actually know he respects you a lot and he can be with very friendly to players, to me, Yanko can be actually pretty stubborn himself. He's got his own set ideas about what he wants and he can be a bit spicy. So what was the relationship like with him as a coach?
The relationship was kind of spicy a little bit. But Yanko is a guy. He's a guy like he do a good job. Like I think like the good thing about him, he bonds the team. You know, that's a good thing. Like he bonds the team. He understands about the game as well. Sometimes he did a good calls as well. I think was a nice guy to work with. To be honest, I think I just work with three coaches in my life, right? I think him and Zeus was like good. The both coaches was really good. I think they had similar things, you know.
I'll ask this question again, open-ended. You answer however you want. As you say, your team, especially like the SK Luminosity, that team actually had very few coaches. It was basically Zeus, then no one, then Zeus again, then no one. And so famously, people don't know, whenever they used to list dead, that's because they didn't have a coach. So they may as well have someone on comms, may as well have someone who can say something. So my question goes like this. At the time, the evil rumor behind the scenes goes, it's because these Brazilian players are uncoachable, like they think they know best or they argue with the coach. Is there any truth to this? Was this team one that could be coached?
No, I think we never had like some arguing with Zeus, like crazy arguing with Zeus. I think like sometimes I think just I think at the end of the second major when Zeus said like he wants to try to play, right, instead of coach. I think before that, Hin and Fallen was a little bit. They were clashing a little bit before the major, but like nothing serious, like nothing crazy.
So he could have stayed if he chose not to go and be a player. He could have just stayed as the coach, right? Okay,
of course,
right.
yeah, of course. Like he chose to be the player, right? So he said like, "Mom, like I was with Hin and his mom, right?" He said, "Mom, I just want to try to be a player." Like probably he.
Did you think he was crazy when he said it though? Like it sounded pretty ridiculous, didn't
it? Like he just literally said like he wants to be a player. Like I think because he saw us winning, right?
Sure.
And by playing like from the back, he and I think he wants to feel this emotion too as well,
Yes.
right? So and he just wants to be a player. But if he didn't said that, he would be the coach like since we stopped with the team.
Sure. Ah, I see. Right. So it wasn't any like beef. That it's not why he left, right? I see.
No.
Okay. Right. After FaZe, people might know there was this brief period where you went to Complexity, and then a similar thing. I also heard in Complexity there was a million different ideas. Like people will know obviously that like that lineup ended up not existing and they went to a different approach, etc. But at the time, I remember when you initially joined, people said stuff like there was even maybe a world where you just took over the team and brought in a bunch of players you wanted, and people went out. Like, was there a chance to stay in Complexity and build something?
Nah, zero. I was just in Complexity just because like I went to first of thing, right? I went to join a Brazilian team again, right? So I even spoke with FURIA back there.
All right. Okay.
2020.
21 maybe?
21,
2020?
22, 21,
Okay.
something like that. Like I spoke with FURIA, like I spoke with Gary and Akari as well. So to join FURIA, I almost closed the deal, to be honest. Like I think we were like they just said like, okay, let's just fix the salary and that's it. But like something on my mind said, okay, I don't think I want to, you know? Like I think the way how I see the organization at all like doesn't fit me, you know? So I think for the players, yes, I would like to play with them, of course, but for the organization, no. Like not in a million of times. But after that, I just told myself like, okay, let's see any team, right? So and Peacemaker came to me and said, okay, like probably we need a standing for some tournaments. You are down to play? I said, yes, okay, I'm down to play. Let's do it. And I was just going there just to feel it like as a standing for them. And I thought in a short period of time, I think it was just for three or four tournaments, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But the team was kind of a little bit mess. Like when I joined there, it was crazy. Like the team was already broken from outside to inside. So
all right.
was not good. Yeah, it was not good.
I mean, one thing I did want to ask is because from the outside, this is even worse than the NiKo FaZe example. Like, famously, one of the reasons why some of the players in this team looked like they weren't doing that well is, as far as I know, like Blame F, JKS, and Coldzera, in theory, probably should have the same role, right? It's like three people trying to do one role. So, I mean, I'm guessing in this sense, if people look at the numbers, like Blame F just took the lurker role, right? And you guys had to just figure it out.
Yeah, it was like the team was already broken, right? So like the same players, like the same characteristics of the players was playing like to play the same roles, right? So was not good. Like I was like Blame was doing some entry, JKS was doing some lurk, I was doing some support, but like the team looks like really passive, right? So that was not a great fit, to be honest. Like, but I think the team was already dead. Like they were having so much problems that I could not even explain.
You said there you already wanted, like with the FURIA move, to maybe go back to a Brazilian team. Did you ever give any serious thought or have any good offers to do another international team? Like maybe you could have gone to a Team Liquid or I mean, I don't know what level these teams were on at the time, but like another team that's international. Have you ever thought about doing that?
Like after FaZe, I think VP came into idea to build a team with me. When they discard the lineup, right? So
the Polish one when they got rid of him, right?
Yeah, they came to talk with me to build a team, but I was not giving so much importance, to be honest. I think it was 2 or 3 more teams. I didn't even remember, to be honest. That was 2018. It was a long time. But after that, I didn't want to join an international team. I think after the COVID period, right? Like I could not see my family for 1 year and a half. So this hit me in a way that I discard the ideas to play international teams. Like I just told myself, okay, that was the first and last one. Like I don't want to be living so far. Like I don't want to be too much far, you know, from my family. So I start to just put in my head, okay, I just need to play in a Brazilian team. And that's when I came to the idea to join FURIA, right? But like the way how the org approached the things, like I didn't like too much, to be honest. Um, and that's when I start to create a team by myself, just to playing younger kids, try to help them, try to see if I could help them or teach them.
Over your career, even when, like I said, when you were in Luminosity, people say you did the secondary calls, but I know there was times like when it was SK where briefly you had some maps you were calling on. I know in FaZe when NiKo left, I think before karrigan, you were the in-game leader. At different times in your career, you've either done this role a bit, or you've like done it, or you've like said you were going to do it, but then got someone else later and changed your mind. What would you say to this? Like, is it something you've always been interested in? Have you always thought you could be an in-game? Did you want to be an in-game leader?
No, I didn't want to be in game leader. Like in that team that I'm playing now in Legacy, like I was doing game leader for 1 year and a half. But that's the problem, right? I understand a lot about the game, right? So I know how to command, I know how to micromanagement, I know like to do a lot of this bunch of stuff. But the problem is like if I be IGL, I'm just gonna focus in being IGL, and I'm gonna lose my game, like my individual part, like when you be an IGL, you lose your individual part, and that's one that I think that I cannot lose myself, like I think I'm still a little bit strong in terms of like dwelling, in terms of understanding of the game, positioning, and that kind of stuff, micro command the things that I want, and etc. Right? So like I try it, but like the problem is like I'm too emotional, so I get a little bit stressed when the thing's not going right. I'm get a little bit stressed when people doesn't follow what I'm saying, or like just miss nades or just do something stupid, like doesn't wait for the block play first for the guy on the side playing the last. So like that starts to create a little bit problems, in my head, I start to be with a lot of headache as well. So I start to get a little bit more nervous than normal. So like I just said, okay, that's not for me. Let's just back to the second color, helping the second color, and just focus on my game. And that's what I'm doing now. Like Next is the IGL now. Like I just live with Next. I help him outside of the game to build the structure, to build everything inside the game as a help as well with micro calls as well. But I'm just focusing on my game.
When they made this Imperial team with Fallen and Fur and Bolts, etc., and they called it initially like The Last Dance, I understand it's just marketing and it's like a fun angle. But the problem I had with that idea is, if you think about it, obviously The Last Dance is based off that documentary with the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan. But my joke was, if you're doing The Last Dance, but it's that lineup, that's like you have the Chicago Bulls, but Michael Jordan isn't there. Like the guy who was #1 in the world isn't in the lineup. Like there's no Coldzera in The Last Dance. So the rumor goes that you were offered this, that they came to all of you and everyone said, like, let's do a Last Dance, and you didn't want to do it. Is there a reason you didn't want to try this lineup again?
Like, to be honest, like, Fallen and me was the first two guys that want to create that, right? So he came to me and he was like, you want to build the team back? I said, yeah, that's a thing that we can think about, right? So he asked for accept, he asked FNX accept. He asked Taco didn't accept because he was in the Godsend, right? And he liked the kids as well back there. So I was like, okay, let's just grab both, for example, and we could build something around this. And after 2 days of that, Fallen just got a proposal from G2, and he didn't accept, right? So he wants to really build the team. And I was like, okay, so how it's gonna work, right? Because when I left Serbia, I planned all my life, So I planned to live in Portugal because I was about to get my residence in Portugal, right?
Right.
So, and that's one thing that things like in my head now, like the way how I think, right? So I'm getting old, right? So if I have something that's really important for me, like as a residence, for example, I'm not gonna lose it, right? Because I don't know if I want to live in Brazil or in Portugal.
Sure.
So, and that's something personally for me was really important, right? So I want to get my residence, and I want to be a European resident, So this helped me in a lot of things in terms of visa, in terms of to have a better life condition, everything, like bringing my family here, for example, like my girlfriend, like everything, right? So when I said that to them, they said, no, you cannot. You need to live in USA. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna live in USA because I don't want to live in USA. Because I planned like 6 months ago to live in Portugal. I cannot do that, I'm not gonna be paying like a rent for 1 year and not live in Portugal, for example, right? So that's was not fair with me. And after that, I just said, it's like, if I cannot be more times in Europe just to have my residence, I'm not gonna be in USA. So it's not gonna fit me, right? So I'm not gonna be happy at all. So they just said, okay, so from that we cannot follow, we cannot going through this, and that's it. Like, I didn't join because of that. But at the end, they passed more time in Europe than in USA,
Yeah,
and I
true.
knew this would
Yes.
happen, and I
Yeah,
knew this would
true.
happen, you know. So like, I think it was just a bad communication between both parts, my part and their part.
Right.
But like, at the end, that's how life it is, you know.
What would you say about your time when you did do the Zero Zero Nation project, and eventually even TaKo obviously came over? And this was quite an interesting mix of players, I think, because it has some experience. But if people don't know, because I know some of the names aren't as big, like the young players in this team were some of the absolute best Brazilian players. Like, I actually think a couple of those could be good in like the next year or two. So what, like, there was clearly potential, but what stopped it from properly going and having big results? Do you think?
Yeah, I think we started to have a good results, right? We qualified for the RMR in Brazil, for the major on Rio. I think we
Yes.
were playing really good. We beat good teams in the tournament as well. We beat Complexity, that was playing very well. We beat Imperial there as well. But the problem, like, I think what happened was after that, right? After we qualified for the RMR, TaKo started to having really big problems with his healthier, and with his healthy, sorry. And after that, he started to have a little bit problems in his life as well, and this disconnect us as a team. So we traveled to USA. We instead of prepare for the major, and we could not prepare for the major, and we played really bad. And after that, more bad things were happening with him as well. And from that, I think we just went drop down hard, because the team was building, because he was the IGL, right? So he built everything out the system, and the system stopped working because our GL stopped working at all, right? Not working in the way as a professional, right? But his head was exploding, you know. So from that, I think we started playing really bad, and from us was kind of hard a little bit, because we didn't have anyone in Brazil who could IGLing, you know. So that's the hard part in when you build a Brazilian team, right? So if one player is not good, or he have some problems, or he's not feeling good, you cannot have a good standing, because like the good players already have teams, you know, like the younger talents are in the MIBR, like, or FURIA, or
Pain
pain,
or something?
right?
Yeah, sure.
Or pain, right? So like, you could not have like someone that could fit in the team. So like, that's when I started to become IGL, because no one we could not see a great potential in Brazil for IGLing, for example, you know. So, and after that, things started dropping really hard. Now I think we start to fixing the problems, right? So we brought Bartim back as well, that have a good chemistry with the two younger talents, and we reunite as well with Next, because Next have a good experience as well, right? So I think Pain was doing really well. I think they were playing very, very, very good. So that's why we brought Next. And I think we have a good mix again, having two players with experience and three younger talents, right? So I think Dumao and Lato and Bartim, they are super good, super skilled. I think they just need to learn and get more experience, you know. I think they're gonna become the two kids are gonna become the next superstars in Brazil. Like, not now, but I think like after 1, 2, 3 years, I think they're gonna be great talents.
If you ever do an interview like this, Coldzera, with a player who was on top a few years ago, the problem is there's a lot of fans who are like haters, obviously. So they're all going to want to be like, "Oh, you're bad now. Who cares? You'll never be good again."
Yeah.
So if you say that, like, you'll get back to the majors and this team will be good, they'll just hate on you and be like, "Ah, he's delusional." But at the same time, like you said earlier in the interview, as a competitor, you've got to sort of believe that you're good and that you're going to do things. So here's my question: what are reasonable expectations for Coldzera? What should be possible with this team? Like, will we see you at the majors again?
Yeah, of course. Like, right now, like, we were trying to build identity, right? I think for every team be good, you need to create your own identity, right? So, like, for example, I'm gonna give you example, FaZe, for example. The identity of FaZe is like individual. As individual players, they play good, you know, like always the individual is on point. I think that's my perspective from them, right?
Sure.
You don't watch FaZe, you say, oh, that's a great threat, that's a
Sure.
magic right here, right? But they are always on point, right? Every time it's gonna be 3 players shining, right? So because they are good dwelling, you know. And their FaZe was always like that. Like since 2018, 2017, they were always like that. Like it's different when you see, like, for example, a heroic playing, right? When heroic was playing good with the complete team, you could see they were more methodical. They were the stress. They were having protocols. They were having everything. So it's different terms of identity, you know. And right now we are creating an identity for our team. So we are playing the way that they can call the basic stuff really well, right? So that's the we in Brazil we call it rice and bean. You know, like the typical
Yes.
food that you're gonna eat.
You often say in America or England, you say meat and potatoes, same concept. Yes, exactly.
So I'm approaching more this concept with them,
Right.
because that's, for you to be a good player, you need to have these basic stuff really well, right? So that's the things you need to have like in your head, like could be the best things you can do it, right? So the rice and beans need to be perfect. That's how I see, like, for example, how Gambit, the younger Gambit, now it's Cloud9, how they succeed, right? So they had the rice and beans perfect. They were playing, everyone in the same page, everyone knew like their limits, everyone knew when they could push out of their limits, and that's it, you know? So now we are doing that to create our identity. And after that, we can start to build things inside our identity, like threads, fixed threads, more protocols, more things, you know? And it's fitting for us. Like we are playing good against some teams here in Europe. We are playing a lot of against good teams, tier ones here, and we are winning some good practice as well. So this creates a little bit of confidence in the way how we should play, you know. And I think we can. I think what you can expect is, like, for this next major, a big surprise for us.
I saw that it actually is officially listed that you're the AWPer in the team now. Now, obviously, people will know, not just because of the jumping AWP clip, but you used to be the secondary AWP in a bunch of the teams you were in anyway. How do you actually like this as a role? Like, have you always been a fan of the AWP?
Yeah, it's kind of funny a little bit, because, like, for example, in all the teams that I was playing Brazil here, right, outside of LG and SK and MIBR, I was doing crazy roles, right? Entry or anchor, or these roles that doesn't fit me well, right? So now with AWP, I can be the guy who's gonna control more the situation, right? So I can be every time on the package. So I can control from where we need to go, from what moves we need to do, which moves I want to do on the beginning as well to capitalize, because I see a gap, and I know how to explore the gap. I know how to understand the map 3D really fast as well. So okay, he said there's 2B, 3A. I know with which smokes I'm gonna throw depending of the map. I know how the rotation is gonna look like. If the guy gets a Q&A, I know how the rotation is gonna do it. In the B, I know how the rotation is gonna do it. So I can control more. And that's the thing. The best part right now is, like, I'm gonna be surviving more, right? So I'm gonna be the guy who's gonna close the rounds most of the times, and that's the thing that I like to do, right? So I stopped to feel the things, and now I'm gonna do something that I'm really good doing, right? So that's and that's a good thing to step up the game, you know, to step up my game, because, like, sometimes, like, you lose confidence because you're not playing. Sometimes the spots you should play because you have a good mindset, right? So now I'm putting in a spot that I can see my potential coming back, you know.
Are you someone where, I asked earlier when I asked the question about 2018, and you said, did I mean now? Are you someone where, when you think about your current level or your ability to still be a good player in CS2, it's obviously not CSGO anymore, what are your thoughts in that regard? Like, if I hate to say it's Coldzera fell off, you disagree? Did your level go down?
Of course. I think my level go down as well, for sure. I think that especially because of the confidence, right? So, like, every time moving for different positions, every time doing more, like, feeling the things and not carrying the way how I want to play, right? So, or the positions that I like to play, this affects me a lot, to be honest. Like, and the game is all about confidence, all about confidence. Like, if you have confidence, you're gonna just pick over pick, and you know you're gonna kill the guy. Like, right? So nowadays, I don't have the same confidence that I had like 5-6 years ago, right? So I'm starting to build more my confidence because I'm playing in the positions that I like, And now I'm getting more to the duos. I'm playing a lot of Counter Strike as well. Like I'm playing the practice. After the practice, I'm streaming as well, because for me nowadays, like, the stream is not about for farming money or this kind of stupid shit, right? So for me, like, I found a way that I can approach with, I can get more closer to my fans, right? Share my experience with my fans as well, and in the same way, help me work more, you know. So because sometimes it's hard when you win a lot and you conquer a lot of things in your life. It's hard you get the same mojo, you know, that you
Sure.
have like you had like 10 years ago, right?
Yes.
So like I won 2 majors, I won 2 times the best player in the world, I won a prize from Michael Phelps. Like, if you put this in a balance, like, it's hard to find a player who have all of this stuff once, like, with a good mentality to keep winning, you know?
Yes.
Because it's not about individual. It's not about just your individual part. It's about a team. You know, like 6 players. You know, like 5 players and one coach. So everyone needs to have the same mentality, and it's hard to find a team who wins 2 years keep the same mentality. It's happened with Australia. It's happened with us. Happened with Fnatic, NIP. Happened with Navi. You know, and probably it's gonna happen with FaZe as well. Like, it's normal, like, right, in life. So it's hard to find this mojo, and I think streaming, for example, it's helping me find the mojo because I can keep playing more. So like, this makes me like play more games, more CS, study more about the game as well, and I'm enjoying, you know. So I think was a long time ago I didn't have this happiness that I'm having in playing with the kids, you know. Like, I think it makes me feel better about not just as a player but as a person as well, to help them try to win something, you know. And that's what the thing I put in my head. Like, I'm just gonna stop when I win a big tournament with these kids.
Are you someone where over your CSGO career, do you feel as though you got like the appropriate respect? Did you get credit for what you did? Do you think people get, like, are fair to you, or were they haters? Do you think people tried to downplay you? What do you think?
It's always like people want to put me down, right? So I think first of thing, I think people didn't like when Brazilians was the best place, the best team in the world, right? So that's a little bit normal, right? Because like, you're beating European teams, so it became like South Americans against Europeans.
Sure.
So like, people try to put me down hard. Like, it's normal, right? So, but I never let this came to my head. Like opinions, everyone can have their own opinions, but for the most thing who matters the most is the opinions you have about yourself, right? How you deal with the things, how your own opinion, like, gonna help you, like, to get better, right? So if you shut down because of one commentary, the guy saying like, this guy is trash, this guy is wash up, like, you're gonna keep falling down, because every day you're gonna show up is gonna show it for you a different one, you know. So like, the thing is, like, just like, I don't read, like, if I read, I just laugh. Like, that's how life it is. But like, maybe things can turn back, so you never know.
Do you get the sense, because I have to say, even myself in esports, as I've done different jobs, like, for example, I used to just be behind the camera and just do the interviews and be like a nobody, but, you know, you'd see my name on the video, like, interview with so-and-so. The difference between doing that Coldzera and then when I do, like, events and, like, I have a Twitter following, so it is different. Like, if people don't know if you're a fan, it's not like just my job's different. Like, suddenly thousands of people are trying to send me a message, or if I say something, they react. Like, if I'd said something when I was just a little guy behind the camera, no one would hear it. You know, you could say anything you wanted. You could say the craziest thing ever. So what's the experience like? Because I know for you guys, a lot of people don't know, it's not even just being famous players. In Brazil, you guys have insane amounts of followers. Like, I always tell people, follow, that's like 1 million Twitter followers. 1 million, like, not like 100,000, which is pretty, a million. So it feels like the scale must be crazy. I mean, the amount of attention. Like, I heard you guys even tell me that your own fans sometimes flame you when you lose the game, right? Your own actual fans flame you, not the enemy fans because you lost. So it sounds like there's a lot to deal with here if you're a Brazilian superstar player, right?
Yeah, I think it is just. I think Brazilians are too passionate. You know, they want their team win so much that when they lose, they don't accept. You know, and they're gonna find someone to blame, and it's gonna be you.
Yes, sure.
But in the same way, like, I think in the same time they put a lot of pressure. I think that's not good. You know, like, for example, if FURIA lose, it's gonna have like 200, 300, 1,000, 2,000 commentators
Yes.
saying they are bad.
Yes.
Like, and that's not good, you know. Like, you're just keeping putting pressure in someone that's not supposed to have pressure. If you want your team to win, just don't put pressure on them. Just leave them, you know, like, just leave them and just support them. Like this should be the opposite, you know? Like probably if they did the opposite, probably they're gonna feel more like embraced from the community, you know? Like they're gonna feel more like loved by the community, you know? And they're gonna keep pushing their limits higher, you know? But when you shut them down, that's the thing I said. Like some people can be read and just drop down because they don't know how to react about this, you know? So, and when you see a lot of commentaries, negative commentaries, if you don't know how to deal with this or you don't have a good mentality to just discard this shit, you're just gonna keep falling down. Like as an example, Taco, for example. Taco was the guy who he could not. We removed his Twitter on 2017.
Right. Okay.
No, we removed his Twitter. That we said, look, just remove the fucking Twitter, because it doesn't matter if you win or not. They were calling him bot.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and he removed his Twitter. And for the last tournament in the year was EPL season.
Oh, the one he won the MVP at, right?
He won the MVP.
Yes.
He won the MVP.
Yes.
You know, like, so like some people knows how to deal and some people doesn't know how to deal, you know?
Yes. Right. I thought what we could do at the end here is I'll ask you some like shorter questions. It's basically like, who is the insert type of player? So here's the first one. Who is the hardest player you've ever played against? Who would you pick?
Oh, hardest player. I think I already play against so many good players in my life, like Shox in Prime, Snax in Prime, Kenny S in Prime, Olaf in Prime, Creams in Prime, like a lot of bunch good players. But I think for me, the most hard one to play against, I think was that's hard. I think I have two, to be honest. I think Device was one of them. Device, when Astralis was hitting their peak, was insanely good. Jesus Christ, insanely good. And I think that was really hard to play against.
Okay.
I think that was really hard. That was really when he was hitting his prime as well. Like in the first year that he hit his prime, he was insanely good. Like it was hard to duel with him. He like really skilled, really smart. Device as well too. Like when the Astralis was hitting their prime, he always in the right spot. Like we play Nuke against them. Like if you go B, he gonna be B. If you go outside, he gonna be outside. If you go A, he gonna be A. Like that was crazy. Like he was like connecting everything. Like that was great. I think there's two most hard players to play against.
What about who is the smartest player you've played against?
It's Snax. Oh,
Ooh,
for
okay.
sure. Yeah, Snax for me was one of the smartest players that I play against. Really, really good.
What about who is the player that was your favorite to play? This can be for any reason. Maybe they were easy to play against. Maybe you like playing. Who was the favorite person to play against?
Oh, I enjoyed playing against Fnatic. I enjoy playing against Fnatic.
Right.
I love it to play against Olaf Meister.
The only thing is, though, it's an obvious question, but I'll ask it anyway, because I ask everyone who's from your team. The problem fans don't know is, though, when Team Liquid with Simple did that amazing run at Cologne, that wasn't supposed to happen, Coldzera. That was supposed to be Fnatic went to the final, so you guys could beat them finally and actually like win the major over them. That was the real storyline. That would have been the satisfying way to win the major again, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think like that final was against Team Liquid. We didn't expect at all. Like I think we expect Fnatic, and it would be amazing. I think Fnatic was like I think that was the match that everyone was expecting, right?
Yes.
So like when Fnatic didn't qualify, like for us, okay, it was good because like we knew like Liquid was a little bit weaker, right? In the back there, but we want to play against Fnatic that finals. Like we want hard to play against them. We want to prove ourselves, you know, because we lose the Katowice for them, you know.
Right, since obviously you've played so many players, you can give any reason for this one. Who is the player that you respected the most?
I think the guy I respect the most, I think it's Fallen. The guy I respect the most. I think Fallen did something really beautiful for the Brazilian scenario, right? So that's why he's called the Godfather, right?
Yeah.
I think it's not just because of the things that we conquer together, but because like he raised the CS in Brazil, right? So he started to put a lot of tournaments in Brazil. He started to help the kids in Brazil as well to create more jobs, you know, like as a gamer. So and people start to recognize Brazil in not just in Counter-Strike, but in different types of games as well. And I think this was pretty cool.
How would you describe your relationship with Fallen? Because even though you two haven't played together since MIBR, if people don't know, like we talked about in this interview, there was a bunch of times you could have reunited. I even heard a rumor, like it was possible you might have reunited in Team Liquid when he was there. Maybe he wanted you to join or something. So it's not any sort of beef, right? The reason Coldzera and Fallen haven't played together is just like careers went different ways, right? What's the relationship now?
I think our relationship is still good. Like we're good friends. Like every time when we meet each other, we just talk. We talk about life. We talk about the game as well. I think like our friendship is not gonna be never gonna be over, right? Because we play so many years together. So I have a good feeling for him, right? So like about in terms of like respect, in terms of being friendship, and in terms of like a person, as well. So and I think like if things doesn't happen, it's just because was not the right moment and the right timing. But I think like we still are good friends, like, and that's it. That's how life it is sometimes. Sometimes things gonna happen, and sometimes things gonna not gonna happen. But like I wish him great success as well.
What does Coldzera think of CS2? Like, for example, do you find it frustrating that there's bugs and stuff? Are you excited to grind a new game? What's your perspective?
I think like in the game, like every game is like this, right? When Valve creates CSGO was same thing. Like things was worse as well. Like they put a recoil from source, and after 3 months they put a recoil from CS 1.6.
Sure.
The movement was shit, the sound was shit. They changed this before the major. It's always like that, right? They change maps before the major, but it's like that's how Valve works, you know. Like the game is gonna be good. I think that's a great potential. The game is be way better than CSGO, to be honest. Like I think the animation was good. I think that's nice to have this animation. I think change how the game works is good as well. Like the HEs, for example, the smokes, for example, mollies. I think it's way more nicer now, to be honest. Like you create a different like game style, to play. Like you create more plays as well. So the game is very different than CS:GO. But I think of course things are annoying now, right? The movements are shit, to be honest. Like these things that people just can run and shoot is kind of stupid. Of course, I don't like this kind of stuff. But I think the nerf from the AWP was perfect for the game. I think you can let rifles shine more, right? Because like after me on CS:GO, I think just the best player in the world was just Alpers.
It
Like that's for
was,
me that's
yes.
crazy. Yeah, that's crazy, right? So I think you let people rifles shine more now, and that's good. I think that's gonna have a different effect for the game.
Are you someone where, if you look at like the future of CS, are you someone where are you like hopeful for it? Do you think, like, for example, is being a player like a long term plan? Would you like to one day be a coach, or you maybe like I mean, I know Fallen's talked about this one. Maybe one day be like just a businessman or something. Do you have like a plan like that? Is it just to be a player right now?
I think for now just to be a player, but like maybe I don't know if I'm gonna play 2 or 3 years or one more year. No, I don't know. I don't know yet, to be honest. But like I have a plan to after that try to be a coach, give a time to a coach. I think try to teach out my knowledge and my experience from the game for the next generation. I think that's good to do it because nowadays like if a player like for example in Brazil it's because it's it's not having you don't have a lack of IGLs, for example, like, and sometimes people need to learn, to have this experience, and they don't know how to find that. And I think because of that, the players in Brazil start to be, the new generation starts not to being so good because that's the thing that I said. Like everyone wants to be the helper, everyone wants to be the superstar, right? But no one wants to be the IGL, no one wants to be the anchor, right? So like sometimes maybe I like if I be a coach, I can give this experience for them.
Yes. I mean, what you're saying, I actually can really see in the scene because whenever people make these like lineups, like what would the dream Brazilian lineup be? It's like you say, the problem is there's tons of riflers. You can get all sorts of things, even good. But then you look, IGL, it's like who? Like that's the joke. And that's why Fallen has to be in all these lineups when people do it because everyone else who does it just doesn't have any experience, right? As you said, I think you phrased it very well. It's not just that there aren't people like who are good at the role. It's that it almost feels like the younger player just wants to be the star, right? He just wants to be like, essentially he wants to be Coldzera or FURIA. He doesn't want to be TaKo or Fallen, right?
Yeah, it's hard to find. It's really hard to find like a Fer or a taco. Really, really hard to find. Like I think Yuri is I think the most close one to Fer, and Casterato is most one close to me. But you never see a taco,
Yes.
You never see a taco. Like it's kind of hard to find like an anchor nowadays. Like in Brazil, that you can look and say, okay, this guy is different. This guy has like maybe he has the thing that you need. It's really hard to find like a guy of that. Like for example, you like if you go to MIBR, like the two talents for them, Bjorn Zan and Insani, big stars. right?
Yes.
So if you go to FURIA, Cacerata, and Yuri, big stars, but everyone playing the same roles. You go to Pain, you had like Bigu, superstar as well from the team, and you had like
Skulls or something? Or was it?
Skulls as well. You know, like same positions. Like you never see an anchor in the teams. You know, like it's always people who play in the same position in similar game styles. You know, so I think Brazil like is not having the right players. You know, to create a super team. You know.
Yes. If someone came along Coldzera and they were like a newer fan, maybe CS2 came out so they got interested in the game, and then they looked up on Wikipedia, you know, all the history of the game. Oh, wow, this Coldzera guy was #1 in the world, right? If I was to tell them a match to go and watch to see who Coldzera was at his peak, the best, like this would really show them what your level was like, your style. Can you think of a great game in history they could go and watch, or a specific tournament that you remember? This one I felt like I did an awesome job at. Which would you pick?
Which one I would pick? I think Epicenter against that final against VP.
Right.
I think it was really sharp in that tournament. I remember we played against FaZe, Navi, VP, and 2 more big teams as well, and we played really well.
At the end of this interview, do you have a final message? Do you want to thank anyone or say hello to anyone?
Of course, I want to thank you first of all. Thanks for the interview. I enjoy it a lot, to be honest. Of course, my English is not so good anymore. I don't speak English anymore, so I'm kind of a little bit, my English is a little bit broken now. But I want to say thanks for you. Thanks for the amazing time as well that we spent here. I want to say thanks for everybody who want to watch as well. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys as well follow Thorin as well. Give some likes for him as well. And I hope you guys enjoy it.
Muito obrigado. I may not have the most supporters in the world, but the ones I do have are straight fire. And they include Mac Pugnaccio Racula, Frisky, Ahmed Haju, Toucan, Tobias Bernasconi, Animosity, Tosh, Jensen Gore, and you know it always is a special thanks going out to Jerky's Minion. Do you want to suggest a topic or a guest for my show? Do you want to see things I say on my Discord, a little piece of straight fire I drop in the Patreon only channels, stories I tell people in the other ones? Do you want to ask a question in my monthly AMA? Do you want teasers? Find out who the next guests are for Reflections interviews? Maybe you want to be one of those people who takes part in the long form discussion with me where we talk about whatever's on your mind in esports. Well, if any of those or more sound interesting, why not support me, put your money where your mouth is, and join the Illuminati today via the Patreon link in the description box below.